Hi, this is Scott Willison, owner of the Confluence Fly Shop in Bellingham, Washington. And today we're going to tie one of my favorite kind of all-purpose multi-species flies for this time of year and really throughout the year. We are going to tie a black sparkle bugger. This is a fly I will use for sea run cutthroat, coho salmon, trout in lakes. It just kind of works for everything, and it's a definite kind of buggy attractor fly. But starting out with a size 8 Daiichi 1720 hook in the vise, and on it I've got an 1/8 inch fluorescent orange brass bead. You could use a tungsten bead with these as well if you want to get them down a little deeper. And we're just going to go ahead and start some black 70 Denier ultra thread on the hook shank there. And once we've laid down our thread wraps, we'll go ahead and put in our tail. For the tail, I am just going to use a black Marabou plume. I'm going to cut away some of that thick stem there, and we'll just use the tip of the feather. And I'm going to measure this up against the shank. I want this about the length of the shank here. Go ahead and do a couple loose wraps to trap that. And then we'll just wind that back to the bend of the hook there. It's going to give us our nice even underbody. We're going to add a little flash. Flash, of course, is optional, but I'm going to put some just plain, just straight up UV crystal flash in the tail here. And I've got 2 strands. We're going to do 2 strands down each side of the hook. I'll go ahead and tie those in on the near side, and then we'll just pull those under the shank and get the other side situated there. And then we can trim this up, have that flash roughly even with the tail. Last thing I like to do on any of these marabou tailed flies, I like to go ahead and lift that tail, and we'll take a couple wraps underneath the tail. That props it up a little bit. I find that can help prevent the tail from fouling around the hook as badly as it likes to do. Next thing we're going to do is tie in our Palmer chenille. And this is basically going to serve as a hackle for the fly. So think of this as being used in place of the saddle hackle you might otherwise use on a woolly bugger. And we'll go ahead and tie this in at the rear of the hook, just by the tip. And then we're going to go ahead and make our body. You can tie these in all kinds of different colors. This one, of course, is black. I sometimes use just a UV black or peacock black, but today we're going to go real fancy and use one of my favorites. This is the Midnight Fire color of Ice Dub. And I always kind of stick with Ice Dub. This fly, as the name implies, is very sparkly. So we'll go ahead and pinch out some Ice Dub. I might have a little bit more than I need, but we'll soon find out. And we're just going to twist that onto our thread. Ice Dub sometimes can be a little coarse. If you need to, you can always apply some wax to your thread at this point. And we'll go ahead and just get a nice smooth underbody. I think my first instincts were correct. I'm going to want all that dubbing here. So we'll go ahead and wrap this right up to the bead head. And then we'll build up a little bit of thread just to prevent that bead from sliding back there. Alright. Now, we'll do this a couple times throughout, but I'm going to go ahead and use my loon dubbing brush here and just kind of rough up that body, because I really want this stuff to sort of bleed through the Palmer chenille and show up nicely. It's going to give me a little bit of extra movement in the fly and some nice flash. So I think we're pretty good. We can do some more at the end here if we want. And then we're going to go ahead and take our Palmer chenille and just wind that forward in somewhat even spaces, just to allow that dubbing to show through. I don't want touching turns of this. We don't want to cover up the dub body. And this thing definitely pops in the water. Love casting this in and around log jams for sea run cutthroat this time of year. They just absolutely love this thing. Coho seem to love it with equal enthusiasm, and sometimes that makes that challenging. I'm usually fishing a 4-weight for cutthroat. Bit light for our late season coho here in northern Puget Sound. Alright, now that we've got that done, we'll go ahead and do one last little brush up. You could even get in there with a dubbing brush or a bodkin and kind of pick out some of that dubbing, but I think we're pretty good as is. And then to finish this off, my favorite way to finish a fly behind a bead, so you don't goop it up with all sorts of head cement, I'm just going to take a little bit of brush on Zap-A-Gap here. We'll go ahead and just brush that thread a little bit. Make sure everything's out of the way, and then wind that up, and then we'll just do a quick whip finish. Very simple fly to tie. I would say my top two colors, definitely black, followed closely by olive. I also do some hot colors like chartreuse. White is another real winner, but easy fly to quickly stock up your boxes before a trip, and is very effective on a variety of species. So go ahead and tie up a few sparkle buggers this fall, and be sure to fish them on your favorite body of water. You can buy the materials for this and many other flies at the Confluence Fly Shop in Bellingham, Washington. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will see you on the water.